Agud Winter Aboisai. Lüdisch Masim Rosirus Pasmon. Valdik. Yeah. This is a sukkah, I think, of Shimi Braun. No, who was this? I don't even remember anymore. Nice sukkah. And then you have this right over here. You have Yol Gold in Yisrael Lichter Sukkah here in Ramah Gimel. That's actually Rabbi Leader's sukkah, no? Yeah, Rabbi Leader. Also, this year's sukkah.
My brother's father-in-law. Just say.
Your brother's. Okay, if you're confused, how am I going to understand what you're saying?
He's my brother's son-in-law. What's the big deal? Gary's trying to grab it.
I got it. Related to Gary somehow. Alright, so we're about to learn an amazing daf. Tzaddik, excuse me. Thank you. I don't like to be mean to people, but there's rules. I'm asking, please don't speak. Please don't have your phones on. I really don't want to talk to people during shir, embarrass people with shir, but these are the rules. If you come in here, you might get embarrassed if you do something wrong, like falling asleep right in front of me, or you're taking your own risk. And I really don't. I'm trying to work on myself, but I said excuse me 4 times. The guy keeps on, he has to finish this conversation. I don't understand pshat, but okay. Over here, we don't speak during shir. I don't care your age. I don't care if you're speaking to a great-grandfather. It doesn't matter. We don't speak during shir. It disturbs other people. There's 20,000 other people that are listening to the shir later, and noise is not something they want to hear. Shkoyach. The Masech responsive for the safe and speedy return of all the hostages. Parnassa chodesh, linishma zechus ben Moshe, linishma Chaya bas Yosef. Parnassa chodesh, health and strength for Rav Eli. Parnassa chodesh, the Lakewood family, Lakewood NJ, because Torah is the best Segula. Parnassa chodesh, Yosef and Chaya Sara for Parnassa berevach. Parnassa chodesh, golden dove alert, Fishel and Family in honor of my favorite Shvigger, Miss Raiselle Snow of Detroit, joining the great-great-grandmother's club. Somebody's red alert is on. That means that there's missiles coming into Israel, but please put it on mute. Maybe it's my own phone. Hold on a second. Yes. Eli, put it on mute. See, I yell at you just like I yell at myself. For zechus for Belly and the whole MDY staff you need to make Torah so enjoyable for so many. This is Gival. This is going to be a great cheer. This is one of my favorite dapim in Shas, Daf Kuf Chof Aleph. And I'll explain to you why as we get to Amud Beis, especially. So the question is, do you make a Sudas mitzvah when you finish a single chumash? Now here's the thing. Where's my email here about Shnai Mikra? It's not here. So we'll remind Oilam. Tonight, you can start doing Shnai Mikra V'Echad Targum on Parshas Bereshis. It's a really tough one. Okay. No, nothing. I just want to see what's going on during my shir. Nothing exciting. Okay, cool. Did you do Shnai Mikra V'Echad Targum this year? It's a great year to start. Let's go down the table. Did you? Eitan G.
I don't even know what that is.
Steinberger. That's good. We have all sorts here. Steinberger is where you say the weeks. How do you say parsha in English? The Torah portion.
I know a parsha.
Oh, that you. Yeah. Wow. Okay. You take the Torah part.
2 writings.
You say the parsha twice. Twice. You have to read it twice, and then the Targum, the translation in Aramaic, which is really difficult. You say that one. It's a big mitzvah. It's a mitzvah.
Why do you do the Aramaic?
That because if you do Shas with us, you'll learn. It's part of. That's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought it down from Sinai. That's what you think.
I think.
But I know. I learned the thing. I learned this. It tells me. I'm on to a great start here. Agud v'ntira boisai. Oh, there's no tissue here. Rabbi Sai, in case you are new to the shir, please don't schmooze with one another, especially if you're across the table. It's really, especially if you're right in front. And please turn off your red alerts, those annoying things, and all other noises, Yishur Koyach. And now, for great cheer, nobody's looking at their phones. And there's something called Shnai Mikveh Targum. For those who don't know, it's reading from the Torah. You read that parsha. Let's say it's Parshas Bereshis this week, right? So you do Parshas Bereshis twice, the whole Chumash, from beginning to end, the whole parsha. Then you do the Targum, because that's how Moshe Rabbeinu brought it down from Shemayim with the Targum. At least to translate, it's a whole thing. Okay, we'll get there a different time. Now, many people took upon themselves to do Shnai Mikveh Targum. One of them is Eitan G. He just said, you weren't here before, but he said he wants to start doing it. And Rabbi Kamayansky here said this might be the year he wants to do it. Are you ready? Now, no, this is learning Hebrew. So on your treadmill, you could do this. It's learning Hebrew, and then you do to the translation. Anybody else here do Shnai Mikveh Targum?
I do it on Shabbos.
I didn't ask when you do it. I just want to know if you do it. Great. It's a great day. Givaldic. Anybody start doing Shnai Mikveh Targum because of MDY? Not bad. Okay. So anyways, if you sign up and you don't live in Eretz Yisrael, you can get a free Chumash, a Shnai Mikveh Targum Chumash. That's a special MDY edition, sponsored by Murad Nakash. Okay, fine. We'll get to it every time. Now, they'll watch it later. The few hundred people will watch it later. So let's say you sign up. Maybe if they have patience, they'll send it to Eretz Yisrael also. Who knows? If you finish one Chumash, it's your first time doing Shnai Mikveh Targum, Eitan G. First time in your life.
Is Targum the Unculus?
Right, Unculus. Yeah. Uncle Louis.
Right.
Now it's coming together.
It's
coming together. Great. So let's say you finish your first Chumash, you're all excited. You finish, Vayechi, wow, it's the first time in my life. Do you make a siyum? Is it appropriate to make a siyum?
You tell me.
That's what we're going to learn today. It's one of the things.
Good.
What's your guess?
Always a good time to make a siyum.
It's always a good time to throw a party.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to get an email from you that you finished Chumash Bereshis. We'll do one at a time.
Okay.
Rabbi, so what happens if you miss a parsha, you're on vacation, you don't have a Chumash with you miss a parsha, what do? You skip ahead. There's a shaila if you have to do the whole Chumash. I say skip ahead. It's better than nothing. A lot of people fall. That's how they fall. One parsha, they're out of the game, they wait for the next Bereshis. Today, we're starting a new thing, we could do it. Now, Rabbi said we have to get to Amud Beis real quickly because that's where all the geschmack is. Oh no, there's a lot of great stuff on Amud Aleph also. Ulei Shammai. 4 lines from the bottom of Kuf Chof. And also the Israelis are coming in 35 minutes. They like to come early, so we have to move. Yesterday we were learning about Zeh Gzer Shava. Hafaris Nadarim B'Shloishet Yotis Menalahu. Of course, we had the Kamiansky. Check this out, because Avi's father is here. So let me do it, because the guy up there is. That's the thing. You ready? Here we go. You see, your son is one of the Hedyotis. Don't get excited, because the Hedyotis, he's not so special. He's just a regular average guy. But I had the zechus of having a Yachid Mumche in my house. Here he is. For the whole Simcha story is by me. Here we go. Boom. That's him. You know the guy? He's a Mumche Gadol and everything. And I got to know him even more over Yantif. So he's a Yachid Mumche. So how do you know that when it comes to annulling Nadarim, all you need is 3 simple people? We do it on Erev Rosh Hashanah. We don't look for the rabbis. We just grab anybody that's next to you, preferably somebody that reads Hebrew quickly, and can get, and you get 3 people, and you go. So this is a riddle, a typical Gemara riddle. It throws out some words that are very difficult to understand. And you have to break your head to understand it. Rabbi Yosef Oimer, Moyade Hashem Nemru, and Rabbi Yosef, here's the kiss from Hashem. You're not going to believe this. One of the only 3 times in the entire Shas, it says these words on top of the page. Shabbos Bereshis. Shabbos Bereshis. Shabbos Bereshis means the first Shabbos of the world, which we read today in Shul. The Rashbam brings the passage that we read today in Vayechulu, says, Vayikadish Oisai. Hashem was Mekadesh Shabbos, not Bezdin. All Yom Tovim are Mekudesh by Bezdin, as we're going to see. So Mayadi Hashem Nemru, Shabbos, Bereshis, Loi Nemru, Shabbos Bereshis, Mamshik is from Hashem. What does it say actually in the first, very, very first Rashi in the entire Torah? It says something scary. It says that the Goyim are going to come. Why does it start with Bereshis? Because the Goyim are going to come and say, who are you? What are you doing in this land? And that's exactly what they did on Simchas Torah last year. They came in, that the whole taina is that we don't own this. They need to wipe us out of here. They don't even hate Jews as much as they want this. We used to live pretty peacefully with them in different countries. But over here, they want this land. And that's what we're here. So, Shabbos Beresh Nemra. Now, what in the world did we just read? We don't know yet. This also we're not going to understand. We need an explanation. Again, it says Yomim Tovim. It doesn't say Shabbos. Or the pshat is, it says Yomim Tovim, Moyadei Hashem Nemru, but it doesn't say annulling Nidarim, Hafaras Nidarim, Lo Nemru. What's this riddle all about? Rabbi Yossi had no idea what's going on here. He couldn't figure out the riddle. By the way, I keep on forgetting, but I have to say it because Gary's here in the booth. So I'll say it again. Real quickly, there's a lot going on today. But the very, very first time Gary came to the shir was on Sukkot morning in Menachem Atez Sukkah. He came for breakfast. I don't know that he came for a shir. And he stayed. He stayed for the next almost 7 years probably. 6 years. It's more because we're almost finished. 6 years. Came. So sometimes you got to pull a guy in, a little food, a little love. They come in. And he's a person that sat in that booth for 5 years straight without missing a day until we got replacements and everything. But for 5 years, never missed a day. And then I remembered about your son Eli. I just said it a week ago. I'll tell it to you because you weren't here. So I made a beautiful scene in my house for Chulin. You know the story? No. And I got a caterer, fancy caterer. I remember 250 shekel a person. Back then it was a lot of money. And Avi says, I got a brother, Eli. Can I invite him? I'm thinking to myself, doing the math, 250, another, what's another 200? Okay, fine. He says, yeah, but he also comes with his wife. But he doesn't do the daf. Avi, he doesn't do the daf. Just invite him. So, okay, he's invited. He shows up with his wife. And that was the best decision ever. You know why? Because he started coming to this year, and then he told me about YouTube. He's the one that discovered YouTube for us and told me about this. So you never know. Bring the guy in, show some people a connection to Torah through food, through whatever it is. And you never know who the guy will be, the next Benny Rudnick or whatever it is. Zok the Gemara. Every line here is gold. You learn a lot of stuff from here. Rabbi Yosef had no idea what the pshat is. So what did he do? He went to a place called Naharda in Iraq, and he couldn't find it. He couldn't find Rav Sheshes to explain to him. So what do you do when you don't have pshat? You know what you do? Ozo Basrei, it says Mefurish in the Gemara. He went after him. He looked for Rav Sheshes. How? To where? To Mechayza. Mechayza is 500 kilometers away. We're not talking about people driving in a self-driving Tesla. They went on a donkey for 500 kilometers. 500 kilometers to understand a single pshat in a brisa. Think about it. The Gemara just says it like this, but that's what it means. These are things we can learn from here. Oh, he found him. Could you please explain to me this riddle? What does it mean? It says Yom Tovim, but doesn't talk about Shabbos. In order to make a yontif, you have to do a kiddush hachodesh. You have to decide when is Rosh Chodesh. If you know when Rosh Chodesh is a Sunday, then you know when Sukkot is. You know that 15 days later is Sukkot, 15 days later is Pesach. But it's based on what Chachamim say, today is Rosh Chodesh. They didn't have the calendars. They used to do it every single month. They established the Rosh Chodesh. Shabbos Bereishis, once again it says Shabbos Bereishis. And a tzricha kiddush bezdin. You don't need to be mekadosh Shabbos. Shabbos has kedusha by itself. How do we know? By kadosh Yosef, Kadosh Baruch Hu was mekadosh Shabbos, remains kaddish for the rest of eternity. Now, stam as a side note, when it comes to Yontif, if you don't go into Yontif and say, I want to benefit from the Yontif, I want the kedusha of Yontif to come, it doesn't work. Shabbos works without you even knowing, without you even being mechaven. It has a kedusha from Hashem. Every week. Tomorrow we're going to have Shabbos. So don't worry about it. So Kedaita Chamina, I guess it's no, stop. Things going on here. So Kedaita Chamina Uksivi Gabi Mayado is here. Here are the psukim. Pasuk Beis says Moyade Hashem, talking about Yantiv, and the Pasuk Gimel says Shabbos Shabbosin, talking about Shabbos. So I think since they're together, they share the same rules. So Kedaita Chamina Uksivi Gabi Mendes Tiboy Kiddush Bezdek Mayad. You should need a Kiddush every Shabbos. Imagine every Shabbos the Bezdek has to get together and say, oh, the 7th day of the week, Shabbos, Kaddish. No, it doesn't work like that. Chumash Milan, it's good. Says the Gemara, what's the second part of this price? Also a riddle. It means like this. When it comes to establishing a Rosh Chodesh, you need professionals. How do I know you need professionals? Because look at these psukim. They're professionals. When it comes to Rosh Chodesh, you need professionals. Where do we get 3? Because a bezin shakel. You can't have an even bezin, you need a third. Okay. But when it comes to annul, somebody's neder, a guy says, I said I'm not going to eat chalav stam anymore. And then he can't control himself. He sees the Haagen-Dazs, he needs to eat. So you go to any 3 people, boom, it's off. Well, you have to ask him questions, etc. Says the Gemara, but wait a minute. By Nedarim it says it should be the Roshei HaMatis, the heads of the Matis. There's 2 things. You can either do 3 simple people or 1 Nachman Seltzer. It's either or. Here we go. Beautiful Gata. Klai Yisrael didn't have a Yontif. 2 Ba'av. In Salgans, there's a whole massive thing on 2 Ba'av for Shidduchim. The 2 Ba'av for Shidduchim. Here's the Gemara. This is where it comes from. Chamisha Ba'av was a huge Yontif for Klai Yisrael, Ukiyom Kippurim, and Yom Kippur. Right, it's a Mishnah, exactly. We're in Tainus. This whole sug is in Tainus of Chavav. It goes all the way to Lamed Amud Beis. It's word for word. This whole sugya is word. Every word here we learned over there. And like Yom Kippur. The girls that are not married, they wear white dresses, shu'ulin, they borrow them. Why do they borrow? Everybody borrows, including the king's daughter, who's the king's daughter. She has everything. She borrows from another girl, basically from the Kohen Gadol's daughter. Okay, she goes down 1 madrega. She's not going to go to a peasant. And the Kohen Gadol's daughter borrows from this guy. Everybody borrows so that the poor girls who are borrowing clothing are not embarrassed. We see this at least twice on this daf about not embarrassing people that speak in middle shir and phones and sleep and all that. Should embarrass people. It's a big isser to be invited people. I understand. I even said, somebody came over to me and said, you know what, this year when they said Shechiyano, Vikiyimano, Lazman Hazan, Yom Kippur night, I felt it. I realized it's such a beautiful time. Beautiful. And today, by the way, was the end. It's kind of late now to talk about it. It's a sregim after Sukkot. It's never too late to do tshuva. But today was like the final. If there wasn't a final of a final. And today, Shmini Atzeres, I guess you could tell your American friends if they're still around in Israel and you're going to visit them tomorrow. The Hasidim, but the Litvaks is today. The Hasidim go until Chanukah. And when you get to Chanukah, it's until whatever, Purim. Because Purim, Kippurim, Kitzur, every day is a Yom Mechilah. Mishlam Yom Kippurim is the Mechilah. That's how Moshe Rabbeinu got wealthy, by the way, from the Luchas Achroinos. He chiseled it, so people say it's actually Sgula. You read it in Chalamayid. You know, we just read it. Psalach Haluchos. When do you read it, Menachem? Pesach, but also Sukkot, no? Shabbos Chalamayid. Yeah, we just read it. Okay, fine.
Closer in Aramaic?
Yes. Ela Chamisha. You don't get into let's. When the let's ask you, you just yeah. They're in English. Ela Chamisha Aser B'Av Mahi. But what's the big deal? You hear Eitan? What is the big deal about Chamisha Aser B'Av? Omer Avidim Shmuel Yoim Shehudru Shvatim Lavi Zebizeh. So first of all, I want to go back a second. What did these girls do with these dresses? So on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year, they went to the vineyards and they danced over there. And the guys, Yeshiva Bachar would come, and take shidduchim over there. That's how it was. So some Sefer says that it was a tikkun, because this is what I understood from him. Basically, people are super serious on Yom Kippur. Nobody wants to do an Aveira. Nobody wants to think about anything. Everybody's very focused, very serious. So they did a dafka on Yom Kippur. It's a day to be misakin if anybody ever had Riyas Asuras or whatever. So you come on Yom Kippur and you're serious. Okay.
They started the practice in order to save Sheva Binyamin.
Right. That's in Binyamin. I don't want to get into that, because over there's a little bit of a forced situation, and the fathers were told, like, turn a blind eye. But okay, I always think, like, imagine if a Rav got up today and said, this is the meeting now. We have to start this to save the shidduch crisis. They would take the Rav physically, tie him up, and like throw him in another country. They would be in Chayim forever. But okay, I don't know exactly how it worked, but that's how it worked. I have a riddle, actually. Which Jew went to this vineyard to find a wife, but instead of him finding a wife, the wife found him? She grabbed, If nobody knows, you'll answer. Anybody? Nobody knows. You're looking good. We might have to come onto you. Who? No. No, what do you say, Rav Dovid? Shalom Melech. That's right. Shalom Melech, his wife saw him and she chapped him. Very good. Okay. Says the Gemara, this I know you know from not either you listened to the shir, but you weren't here, or it's not in the art scroll, or like it's not in the daf. You still know it. Very good. This shows that all the other times that he answered also wasn't cheating. Very good. David, your star. Who's your father? You should give him some nachas here. Zah the Gemara. So, what else is on Chamisha Asabav? We said that only, and this is important to remember, a woman who inherits her father, she's not allowed to marry another shevet, besides but the first generation, they didn't want the inheritance of Eretz Yisrael to go to another shevet. This was a day that everybody was allowed to marry anybody. In other words, that generation was over, and there's a heter, there's more achtos, mamish like MDY, all sorts of people that know what Shnei Mikra Vechot Targum is, people that don't. It's all the types. My Dorosh, Zeh Dover. It says in the pasuk, Zeh Dover, Dover Zeh. Lo yeh noyeg ela b'dor zeh. That's what we had this the other day, right? It says Zeh Dover in 3 places. You remember it then? All 3 places? Chazar, you got to do Chazara. 3 places.
I got Shtayim Mikra, I got Targum Unkelus.
It takes the whole Shnei Mikra Vechot Targum, for me at least, takes 8 minutes a day.
Do you translate the parsha? You just read it in Hebrew?
I understand it. And then the Unkelus gives me actually more explanation. I'll show you today. Actually, is it today or tomorrow? Tomorrow's daf. I saw Pshat, just a simple word in the Gemara. I saw it in today's Unkelus in Zoysa Bracha. I'll tell you tomorrow. Sometimes I learn Pshat from it.
Fill me in. Maybe I'm in.
Why not? It's good. It's a mitzvah. Even if you don't understand, you just do it. You say it. And you could also, some people say it together with the Balkore. I don't like that idea, because then it's the ones that are loud are really annoying, because they
do it in a shul where the guy says a pasuk up at the stage.
Right, like that. And then the other business say, right, that's how it was. That's back in the day. That's where the minhag.
Schleps the davening on the Kiddush club.
Yeah, and they say every word in Pesukah Zimmer together.
Crazy.
It's like a 6-hour davening.
Yeah.
You just have to thank you Hashem that you're Ashkenazi.
Yeah.
You don't have to get up for slichas for a month. Yeah, okay. For the good stuff, and that stuff you don't do. That stuff you leave, and the chinga and whatever that you do. I got it. Yeah. Omer Rav Yidam Shmuel. My daughter Zeh Dover Zeh Lo Yenoig El B'Dor Zeh. Only for one generation. Rav Elchanan, Yoim Shuter Shevet B'Yom Lo B'Kahal. Again, talking about the Pelagish Begiva. Klai Yisrael wiped out B'Yamim besides the 600 people. And they swore they're not going to let them marry them, and then they were going to be wiped out, so they gave them women, the whole thing. But the next generation was allowed to marry into Binyamin. They swore, we're not going to let our daughters marry Binyamin Liisha. My daughters, so how come they stopped it? Mimenu, It's only for that generation, but not for our children. Says the Gemara, Rav Dimi by Yosef Amar Rav Nachman, Yom Shekol Boy Meisei Midbar. This is the day that the people stop dying in the desert. Before you turn the page, it's kedai to look at this Rishbam. Domar Mar, actually, Kolu Meisei Midbar, Loi Hayadibur Moshe. So let's see the Rishbam real quickly. I'll put it on the screen in case you don't know where it is. It's the bottom Rishbam right there. And here it is in large. This is my favorite Vart of all time. So I'm going to say it even though I might have said it just a week ago. So the Rashbam says this famous thing. Yom Shekol Boy Meisei Midbar. This is the day that they stop digging. Domar Rav Eli, Kol Erev Tisha B'Av. Every Erev Tisha B'Av, Yikruz Yoytza, Hakol Yotzu, Hakol Yotzu Lachbor Chafarim. The 600,000 people that came out of the Mitzrayim that were between the age of 20 and 60, and every year from after the Miraglim, so for 38 years, I guess, they all dug graves, and every year 15,000 people died. They would dig a grave, go in Tisha B'Av, and wake up the next morning. If you woke up, great. If you're one of the 15,000 people, oivei. Now, and in the morning, they would announce, separate the live from the dead. And they would check. 15,000 is 15,789 people, because if you divide 600,000 in 38, it's 15,789. Every year, 15,789 died. This is what they did until they came into Eretz Yisrael. Yom L'Shana, every Tisha B'Av. B'Shana Achrona also came. Last year they checked, and no one died. There's only 15,708 people left. They went in to the graves and they didn't die. Amru, Shematinu B'Cheshbon. Maybe we made a mistake. V'chein B'Yud. So they went on Asara B'Av. V'chein B'Yud Aleph. V'chein B'Yud Beis. They went in for 5 days straight. V'chein B'Yud Gimel Yudalet Adis Mal Sierra, until there's a full moon. Kivin Mal Sierra. Amru Bitel HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisik Kasha Mi'aleinu Vasu Mishta V'Simcha V'Yantav. So they made a big giant party. They're alive. We're alive. Maybe it's tomorrow. Maybe we're off a day. They went in again. They realized Hashem is not going to kill them. So the Vard is beautiful, and even if you heard it 2 days ago, it's good to hear it again. Why did they survive? Why? Why were they Zoicha? Every year, 15,000 died. They're the last 15,000. So the answer is because they davened and they davened. So the question is, but every year they davened to be saved, especially the year right before, when there was 31,000 people left. They all daven like crazy. And the answer is a tremendous idea in tefillah and how tefillah works. When there was 30,000 people that went into the graves the year before, they daven like crazy, but not crazy. Why? Because there's a 50% chance that you won't die. And when there's a 50% chance that you won't die, you don't mean it 100%, you mean it 98%. When you go into a grave and you know that there's zero chance for you to survive, that's a whole different level of tefillah. Eitan G doesn't like the pshat. He's giving me like this, back, forth. I love the pshat.
It's nice.
It's not nice, it's real. It's true. It works. When you're serious and you daven, because you know that the only thing that's going to help you is that tefillah, it's a whole different level of tefillah. Says the Gemara. He's new. I'm not going to say anything. Ariel is new. Even though he does all the shiur and does the edits, he's new. There's only one person that can say sponsors. You thought it's pshat is in the editor. He's an editor. But the pshat is you have to be an editor and sit in that seat. Because somebody tried sitting in that seat and do it, I yelled at him. You have to be an editor and sit. It's two dinim. Ariel, if you sit in that seat, because you're the only other person that can do it. Now, Hashem didn't speak to Moshe Rabbeinu when all those people were dying. Now, he did speak to Moshe Rabbeinu, but it wasn't like a friend. It wasn't like, hey, how you doing? It's also to do this, mutter to do that, That's Vayomer. Vayidaber, to shmooze, Kaviyachol, that didn't happen until people stopped dying. Shenemar yigash etav kol anshei hamilchama lo muz mikar ba'am v'samach lei vayidaber Hashem Eli leimor. Before that was of Vayomer, now it's Vayidaber. Eli Hoyo Hadibor, sponsored by the Belsky family in memory of Simcha Berel, Dovid of Shalom ben Avraham Moshe, and by Kidnovations. In our Mayagor Rebbitzen Pressman, Fishel and Family, Akiva Simcha Ben Fayga, shidduch for Rebbitzen Chaya, and thank you to my wife. It should be a zechus for a year filled with mazel, bracha, tzlacha, Parnassa berevach, and refuah. Mamish. I mean, you'll remember, I was in this room when the sirens started in middle of davening. We didn't even know what was going on. We didn't even go to the mamad. There was nervayim then. Okay, a lot of things have changed since that. Ula Amar. Yoim shebitel bo Yeshua Ela ben Ela Pardesois. The Rasha, Yeravam ben Avad, put caps on the roads up to Yerushalayim, not allowing Klal Yisrael to go. Be Oila Regel. And he got rid of them and he said, okay, you can go. Once there was the golden calves, they had these fake Avodah Zaras, and once they got rid of the fake, so you know what? You guys could go. It actually caused the gullus. Why? Because Klal Yisrael was so used to not going to Aliyah Reg, they didn't go. Even though they were allowed to, they didn't go. And that was a bad thing for Klal Yisrael. Rav Masna Omar, Yoim Shenitnu Harugi Beit Alikvura, the famous Harugi Beitar, when there was the revolt of the Bar Kochva revolt, and millions of Yidden died, and they stayed there for years outside unburied. When they were able to bury them, it was a big yantav. So, in benching, there's only 3 brachas, and they added the 4th bracha, like we say after Bani Yerushalayim, Hatoiv HaMeitiv, it's called. Every time you bench, you say Hatoiv HaMeitiv. What does it mean, Hatoiv HaMeitiv? He's good, he does good, and he is good and he does good. Hatoiv shelo yisrichu. That the bodies didn't smell bad after all the time they were outside in the sun. V'hameitiv shenitnu lekvura, that they were able to be buried at Kfuras Yisrael. It's a big thing. We still have those hostages. Some of them have to be buried, and we know what it is. We do a lot to get a Jew to be buried. Here it goes. This is it. Daf Kuf Chof Aleph. This means a lot. For me, personally. It's the day that they stopped cutting the wood. First of all, I forgot to show some stuff here. This is a picture that Yoshi did of people. It's very hard to do. We wanted different, obviously, but this is when Klal Yisrael goes into their graves and they wake up in the morning, like, what's going on? There's a full moon still. Okay. Let's see. What is this? Oh, yeah. You're not going to... Maybe I should show it to you later. I'll just show it to you now, and then I'll explain why there's certain things. Okay. So what's going on is as follows. Oh. Okay. Now, let me explain to you what the Gemara is talking about, then I'll explain to you why I'm excited about the sugya and how it has to do with MDY. This is a day that Klal Yisrael used to cut wood for the maracha. Let's just see the maracha for a second. This is the mizbeach, right? From afar, you go up the ramp, you bring the korbanos. On the mizbeach, there's a bunch of piles of wood, some are larger, smaller. They used to bring the wood every day. Klal Yisrael had to chop wood. On Tesvav of, they stopped chopping the wood. That's already when the sun is not as strong, so it didn't dry out as much. There's wormy, not good. Too many worms. So they stopped cutting the wood and they would break their axes. It's a day of axe breaking. In other words, I'm done. We're done cutting wood. So I'll start with Rameir Shapiro, because I owe him a lot of the Kars HaTov. I think we all owe him a Kars HaTov that he brought this idea of Daf Yomi to Klal Yisrael. Rameir Shapiro says it's a day, and it really fits into today, the yard side of all the 1,300 people that died last year on Simchas Torah. It's a day that we break the enemy's what's the word I'm looking for? Weapons. They break their weapons with learning Torah. Tavar Magal, to break their weapons. That's what he says. That's his little pshat. It happens to be, it's a day, according to the Rabbeinu Gershom. It's also a kiss from Hashem. Check out this Rabbeinu Gershom right over here. I mean, you could look at right in, it's the top Rabbeinu Gershom on your daf. He says like this. When a person has a job, it's hard for him to learn Torah. They stop cutting the wood. Why did they make it a yantav? It's a simchas Torah, Rabbi Isai. That's what it is, according to Rabbeinu Gershom. It's a simchas Torah. It's the day that they celebrate that they're able to learn Torah. So, 7.5 years ago to the day, sitting in Pnei Shmuel with my chavrusa, Rabbi Yedidi Kramer, and next to us is sitting Mendy Auerbach. And Mendy says, I like this, Tavar Magal. I want to break my Magal. He does diamonds. He used to work in diamonds for years. His father-in-law worked in diamonds. His brother-in-law is still working diamonds. I want to do a Tavar Magal. I didn't know what he was talking about. He's like, real estate, how does it work? Passive income. I think I want to spend more time learning Torah. I want to move my entire business, everything I know. I have a lot of experience in diamonds. I want to move over to real estate so I can spend more time learning Torah. That was the day he decided it. And every day from then he was saying, Tavar Magal, Tavar Magal, Tavar Magal. He got a great partner from South Africa. He sold his entire business. Mamish, right after that, sold everything and went into real estate. And yesterday, Erev Yontiv, he comes to my house. I thought he forgot about it. I was going to talk. He comes to my house, knocks on the door, and he says, I brought you a gift. This is a very expensive bottle of wine. It's like in the 300, 400 range. I don't know. He's like, you remember? Tavar Magal, Daf Kuf Chof Aleph. Now, he might remember because I made a silly sign to the Daf, which I don't remember. I never remember it, and every single time I have to ask my chavrusa. I don't even remember it now. Kordoimais Cholem Auerbach. Cholem, like instead of a ches, a chaf. Kordoimais, because we're talking about axes. Kordoimais Cholem, we used to do like hints with the Daf. What's? Monix. Anyway, so he remembered, he brought me this wine, he said, because I had a part in him doing it. But my message to the Olam is that we can learn from Mendy Auerbach. Mendy Auerbach said, I'm going to make a 180 in my life. I'm going to change everything I know. I have a lot of experience in diamonds, but I want to do real estate, not to make more money, but because I want to learn more Torah, which he does. He started teaching in yeshiva. His whole morning is all about Torah. He starts the day here and moves on to Rebbe Leaf's yeshiva, etc., etc. He did put in many more hours in learning a day. For that, we can learn tremendous amount. Now, going back to this thing of, I asked all the way in the beginning of this year, when you finish one chumash, Bereshis, you finish one sefer, do you make a siyum? So Moshe Feinstein wants to bring a raya from this sugya that you do, because they didn't finish a masechta here. They finished the mitzvah. They finished the mitzvah of cutting wood, and for that they made a simcha. Says, you see, anytime you finish something, in of mitzvah, you can finish. I did a lot of people, they learn like Shisha Sidra Mishnah with their sons. I thought, one of my sons, I think it was Kivi, I said, let's learn Mishnah Brura, Chelik Aleph. Let's learn at least Orach Chaim, so we know basic halachas. And we made a siyum, and then I asked my father, can I make like a siyum? Can I make a real thing with the hadron? He said, yes. He passing it for me. Okay, so maybe he got it from over here. Weiter. Oh, and one last thing I want to tell you, because Reb Nachman Seltzer always says the story, and I asked him about it, and he told it to me again. It's a true story about a guy that's young today. He's maybe 40 years old or so. His name is Mati. I don't know his last name. He was the clown in yeshiva, a real clown. A guy that wasn't like, he was into, non-Jewish music stuff and jumping out of planes and da-da-da-da-da. He was like one of these guys. One day he said, I'm making a big siyum. His father owned a meat store. He said, I want to make a big siyum. Everybody's invited. They all come to the siyum. What are you making a siyum on? He said, I finished the Chumash Bereshis. And the guy started laughing. They're making fun. It's Chumash Bereshis. He's making a siyum, but like this. Making a big siyum. And anyways, he made a siyum. And then a little bit later, he invited again the big siyum. What are you making siyum? on the Ben Ish Chai. Finish Ben Ish Chai. The guys, between themselves, the guy, he's the loser of the yeshiva. He's making siyum. Like this, he'd keep on making siyum. True story, guys. He's alive now today. One day, he made a siyum hashas. He invited all his friends. He made a siyum hashas. He rented a hall in Petach Tikva. He got a 10-piece band. He mamish a sudas malachim, and they're waiting for him. Where is he? And all of a sudden, he comes down in a helicopter. Comes to see him. And Shmuel Kupperstein, who's Davin's over here, knows him. He saw him and he's like, "What's going on?" That's it. He's learning all day. Became a serious guy. All from the siyum. Because he explained to Shmuel, he said, the siyum, when you finish something and you make a party, it becomes part of you. It changes you a little bit. And another siyum and another chumash. Be'ezer Hashem, we're all going to celebrate with Eitan G and Avi and Hill's father. He's going to make a siyum on Chumash Bereshis, his first time, and your first time. Is it your first time? I don't know if it's your first time, but maybe. All those who are going to do Shnai Mikra for the first time, we're going to make a massive siyum on Chumash Bereshis.
Helicopter?
You're going to sponsor the helicopter.
I got it.
You know what? If you do it and you're here, I'll sponsor half of it.
Okay.
Let's go. Zok the Gemara. Tana Rabbanon. We got to go. We only have 3 minutes. Tana Rabbanon, Shiva Kiplus Koloilam Kuloi. There's 7 who expanded the entire universe from beginning of creation till today. And these are people that were Talmidim of one another, and they were tzaddikim, because you could fit in other names here, but there's 2 things that you need here. You need that they're Talmidim and they're tzaddikim. Misu Shelach lived very long. He saw Ra Adam. He saw the Mauritian. Shem, Ra Misu Shelach. Shem saw Yaakov, Ra Shem. Amram, Ra Yaakov. Achi Hashiloni, Ra Amram. Elio, Ra Achi Hashiloni. Vadayan, Kayam. I'm going to say this for Benny because he came again, and I didn't say this for the Israelis. The famous Maisa, there was a couple, they were 110 years old, they came to the Bezdin to get divorced. So, what are you getting divorced now? 110. So, we're waiting for our children to die so they're not in pain. But I'll tell you another one. They were interviewing this guy. He said, how are you 98 years old? He says, very simple. Every day I work out. I go in the morning, I chase peacocks. That's how you stay. Yeah. Are you serious? Yeah. He said, so how old was your father when he died? He said, died. Who said he died? Your father's still alive. Serious? Yeah. How does he survive? Well, how old is he? He's 120. Then what does he do? Every morning, me and my father, we go out, we chase peacocks. It's unbelievable. Okay, fine. But what about your grandfather? So my grandfather, no. My grandfather, he's still alive, but so what? He's still alive, he chased peacocks with you this morning? He says, no. This morning, not. This morning, he's getting married. He's getting married? He says, yes. What's Pshat he's getting married? He says, because the pressure from his parents. His parents are pressuring him to get married, so he's not there. 2 great jokes I didn't say for the Israelis. And he's saying, Baruch Hashem, you didn't. So they're great jokes. You guys are just too tired. And it's the delivery, all in the delivery. How's it possible that Achia Shiloini saw Amram? It says that nobody was left going into Eretz Yisrael besides Kalev and Yeshua ben Nun. Achia Shiloini was a Levi, and therefore he was able to come into Eretz Yisrael. Anybody a Levi here besides Yosef? Who else? That's it? Yaakov. So I'm going to tell the Levim, it's a big mitzvah to wash Kohanim's hands. I know you know that, but you look around, not everybody does it. They get lazy here in Eretz Yisrael, especially in America. It's like a big thing. Every Levi comes and they hold it from a different side. Here in Eretz Yisrael, I did it 3 weeks ago. What I have to do today? Yeah, it's a big mitzvah. So, so everybody died from 20 to 60 years. We'll see. So, as you see here, the pasuk of, maybe you don't see, could you do chart 18 for me, please? Umishar Shvatim Liyayel, what? There's nobody from the rest of the Shvatim that came into Israel. So you'll see who's doing that editing, you or him. Ariel, chart 18 just says, I'll say it for you. Levi, Miben Shloshim Shana. So you see that they were 30 years old. By the way, we should do this thing again. This the Mendi Arbach. Fine. After I said the story, you could show it again. Now that you have why. What's going on? It just got stuck? Oh, now show also slide 20, please. Slide 20. I show it? I can't do it. It doesn't work on my thing. Meanwhile, I'm going to read. These two, they were born. They're breaking the things. Oh, Mendy went through. He's. Do it again. And then they went to learn Torah. Gishmak. Yeah. You see, there's other people from different Shvatim that came in. So this is also something new that happened to Klal Yisrael. When Klal Yisrael went to war, nobody died. Over here, approximately 36 people died. As the Gemara of Vitanya, was literally 36 people died. Divri Rebbe Yehuda, Amar le Rebbe Nechemia, Rebbe Nechemia tells them, it doesn't say 36 died. When I'm telling you something approximate, I don't say approximately 37 people died. You either say 30, you say 40. You don't say a funny number like 36. Kish Leishim means something else. It's going according. It's Yor ben Menashe. It's referring to one person. He was equal to a majority of the Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin is 71, so 36 is a Rav. So you see, more people came into Yisrael from other Shvatim. You had to be less than 20. If you were less than 20 or more than 60, this gzeir of dying in the desert didn't apply to you. It says before you have to be 20. Not more. You learn from a gzeir shava from Erechin. What's Erechin? Chart 13, please. Oh, got it. Erechin means if a person says this person's erech is on me, so we look at this chart. Depends what age that person is. If he's between 20 and 60, he must pay the circle, which is 50. If he's above 60, how much does he pay? 15. If he's below 20, how much does he pay? 20. So the amount that you pay to the Beis Hamikdash, if you say Erech Alai, it's much less if you're under 20 or over 60. They're not exactly the same number. It's either 15 or 20, but it means it's a lot less. Above 60 is like below 20, which means it's a different price than 50. Also too, going into Eretz Yisrael, if you're over 60, you didn't die in the desert, just like somebody that's under 20. Rabbi Sai, have a great year. We'll see you tomorrow.